Hello, everyone. I'm Adam with Demiplane. Thank you for joining me for this week's development update and community Q&A session. Sorry, we're getting started a little bit late here. That is all on me. I was trying to make some last-minute little updates here where we would, get you the absolute cutting edge, latest updates because some new things just came in. So, as I mentioned, these updates, that is what today is about. It's also about questions. So, I'm going to first of all go through those latest updates, what we are currently working on, and then we are going to talk about what is upcoming, which is on deck on the very short term roadmap. And then you can ask questions all along the way. So, those questions can come in. We have our magical demi bot that is going to be collecting those. All you have to do is type the word question and then follow that by the question itself. And I will get to as many as I can get to at the end of the stream. And also today, we are going to be giving away a Pathfinder Nexus Ultimate Bundle. So that is everything that is currently available on Pathfinder Nexus in early access, which is, I don't even know at this point, like 70 something books. It is a massive treasure trove of content and a really great way to experience it in the digital reader and in the game compendium here on Pathfinder Nexus at Demiplane. And also, we are working on these character tools that we're going to talk a little bit more about. And I can't wait until those are ready for prime time. The team is really excited about it. Let's jump right in. Latest updates. As you can see here, I always have to call this out. I typically try to find new artwork to grace the screens in the stream with, but I periodically come back to this one because this is my favorite piece in all of Pathfinder. I love dinosaurs and I love dinosaur form, and so I love looking at it. I hope you do too. But in Pathfinder Nexus Early Access, so we are working on Gatewalkers number 3 and Lost Omens Firebrands. Those come out a little bit later this month, and all of those are looking great. Soon, very, very soon, Agents of Edgewatch Adventure Pass. So that is our back catalog. I was hoping that that would be something I would say was ready today, but we didn't quite make it there. But we still made some really great progress considering that we're trying to progress some of the back catalog stuff in between some of the other priorities that we have. So that is going to be very soon. I would imagine by the next time that we have one of these streams, then you'll be able to get your hands on Agents of Edgewatch on Pathfinder Nexus. And then with the Character Tools Closed Alpha, as I explained a little bit last time, we are going through and doing a pass on several of the classes because we are getting into some of the final stages here of the closed alpha. So this is the part where we have accomplished everything that we wanted to accomplish in the alpha. That's not to say that we're closing the alpha today or anything, but we have accomplished everything that we wanted to. The first thing that we were looking for was overall impressional and directional feedback, and we've gotten so much of that. Thank you so much for everything that you've all shared. And the great thing about it, as we have gotten that feedback coming in, is we have gotten validation and confirmation that we are headed in the right direction, and that allowed us to lock things in and start working on them and start actually moving to complete them and to polish them. And so this is a really important step here because what we are currently working on, the two most important things that we're working on at this stage in the closed alpha, is working towards stability and accuracy. And so basically with stability, that's making sure that we are squashing the bugs that are coming up. That's making sure that we are making the platform fully stable and secure, that when the entire public comes in and starts making thousands and thousands of characters, like what is going to happen before too much longer, that everything works the way that it should, that it is a polished and pleasant experience. So we're working on that. And then of course accuracy, and so this is making sure that we're capturing game mechanics in the right way, that when you click and choose something that it has this, the expected results. So all of those things are the big part of the focus as we are tightening things up here in the last stages of alpha. A big part of that is making sure that this works completely great on mobile devices, tablets, all of the different screen sizes. So all of that is happening here as we are getting into the last stages of the closed alpha. So given those kind of polished passes that are happening starting last week really is when that started. Some of the class updates that are now in place is for the fighter and wizard. You are going to have a good bit of coverage. Everything should be tightened up with all of the class features that are going on for those two classes. If we are currently not covering something for the fighter and wizard, that probably means that that's not something that's going to be covered in the first pass of kind of the release candidate for what's going to happen for the open beta. And really those would be things that are going to be some supreme edge cases if you find those. But all of the class features for those classes are hooked up and working at this point. We are the work in progress right now is the aforementioned mobile and responsive views. So we had hoped that we would start possibly introducing some of that today. It's not quite in a state that we're ready for it. So there is not going to be a release today. We typically try to do that on Tuesdays. We're hoping for kind of that Thursday window a little bit later in the week. We'll see how that goes. But we're going to have a pretty big lift coming in with some of the mobile and responsive views polish that's going to be coming in. All along the way in parallel, we're working on the next classes that we're really focused on are the rogue and cleric and ranger. And then we have one other change that we're currently working through with spell heightening, with some of the scaling damage that we're trying to get in place. So all of that should be in very soon. Those are the things that are immediately in front of us that we're working on and the team's working on. For Vampire Nexus and Avatar Legends Nexus, those are the other two games that we will be introducing character tools for next, following Pathfinder. And we're really excited about the progress that's being made there. We, have different teams that are kind of focusing on the different pieces here, and those things are shaping up nicely as well. And like I said, the progress is really encouraging to see, and it's really encouraging to see that some of our hypotheses about what this platform could do for us once we went through the very difficult, challenging, arduous task of getting the platform in place when it came to how these character tools work. The hypothesis was that moving this to other games and the scalability that was going to be needed was a really important thing. And so it's really good to see some early signs showing that that investment that we've made is paying off for us. So more on that soon. Also, I wanted to call out today that we are trying to work on some other things in parallel that are important to us. And these are things that have been planned for the overall early access period, even outside of character tools. And so we are making some game compendium updates. And so before too much longer, you are going to see for all of the Nexuses out there, you're going to see that the source field is being added to listing rows. So it's going to be a lot easier for you to see where whatever that element is that you're looking at came from. So all of that is getting added. It's already in the filters, but it's going to be added to the general display there. And then for Pathfinder, we do have some new listings that are coming. And first of those will be conditions. We are working on deities as well, so this is going to be a really great resource when you are looking for the various deities and pantheons and everything else, when it comes to Pathfinder, because there are many of these divine beings and entities out there. And so this listing is going to be invaluable. And then also something that we call a rules listing, which is actually something that if you have checked out the Marvel Multiverse RPG Nexus, you are going to see that there's a rules index that you can access there that is a really simple and lightweight way to find key rules and key mechanics in any of these games. We're going to be propagating that to other games, starting with Pathfinder, but you'll also see this before too much longer for Avatar. And these are places where you can kind of have this open while you're playing or while you're just exploring, and you can quickly search and filter for those things that you're constantly looking for. The other motivation for us doing this is actually the first pass of effort that we have on making search better. So I have talked a few times here in these dev update streams that we put out a great search system that is currently not working anywhere close to how good it will work when we get later into our overall early access phase. And so search at the moment for us is only as good as what we are kind of putting into it, and we haven't put a ton into it. This concept of making rules different separate game elements is one of the first steps that will start improving search. And so you'll see how that all impacts a little bit further down the road, but also it will allow us to have a listing that will is something we call a basic listing, where you can find something quickly and easily in a very easy to filter list. So I'm going to show a little bit of an example of that here in just a moment as well. So let's jump into some screenshots here. And these are some of the things that I was trying to get in, just before we started our stream today. So I probably would have demoed it if I had thought that I could successfully do so without, revealing, personal information that I shouldn't have on my screen. So I didn't have time to get everything set up. So we took some quick screenshots here. But when it comes to spells, the key thing that you're seeing here is that source field has been added. And so that source field is going to show up on most of these listings. You will be able to sort on that, which is going to be a big help for people that are looking for that as well. So that's one example of what's going on with the search field or the source field. And then we have a conditions listing here on the next screen. And so this conditions listing is going to be a way to quickly and easily find the various conditions that are available in the Pathfinder game. These are very crucial to gameplay, far more than when you're playing 5th edition, for instance. Conditions play a really big role in Pathfinder at the table, and so this is going to be a very valuable resource. You'll be able to filter it by and sort by the different condition groups here, and see a quick little synopsis of what is going on with that condition. So this is going to be introduced soon as well. And then finally, this is a quick and dirty. We're definitely not done with all of the styling here. There are going to be some things that we have to update and address. But this rules listing is, as I said, kind of our basic listing format that is going to allow for all of these different kinds of mechanics. And we're just going to keep adding mechanics over and over and over. You're going to be able to find these things very quickly and easily. So these are game compendium updates that will be in pretty soon here. And we're excited to expand that offering there, in addition to everything else that's going on with our core focus of the character tools. All right, I think it is time for a giveaway. And as I said, we are doing an ultimate bundle. I'm shaking the ropes. Ultimate, ultimate bundle. Good luck, everyone out there. That is a truckload of content that you could get your hands on today. So good luck. All right, upcoming. Let's talk about the short term roadmap at this point. So upcoming, we are working on those mobile and tablet views, and really that should be up in the work in progress. But that's kind of the point of the highlight there. We're working on new book coverage. Our game content team that is headed up by Josephine. She's doing a great job with this, and Sam is doing a wonderful job with that too. They are both incredible with how fast and how high of quality they are in digitizing this content. And so with this, that new book coverage is getting really close to being done to most of the different things. So we've prioritized rule books, and then Lost Omens, and then standalone adventures, moving into adventure paths. And as you can imagine, the reason we focused on rule books is because that's where most of the character options are, and then that there are diminishing returns all the way different down the different kinds of content there. And so we're working through all of that. And as we get closer to the open beta, we are going to be able to release more and more of this content that is going to be just ready to go. And so looking forward to that. You can see the rest of that very short-term roadmap of things that we're putting together before the open beta that's coming out. We do have our 5e Nexus early access coming a little bit later, this spring. So we'll have more details on that soon. And then for the content roadmap for Pathfinder and Vampire and Alien, nothing has changed here. This is the list that we're going to be working through as that on deck status. I think we did get an update on the Vampires player guide of when that street date is going to be. And since I can't remember that off the top of my head, I'm not going to say it right now where there's no confusion. But I do believe that that's going to be relatively soon here. And the idea that is we're going to be pushing to have that player's guide available by the street date. And then of course, once character tools are available for Vampire, all of that stuff that's going to be compiled and aggregated there in the player's guide is going to be available for fans to use there. All right, I think it is time for questions. Let's jump in and see what we got. I see several of them here. If you have others, feel free to ask those. I have a decent chance of getting through these, so hopefully your question won't get cut off. Spidey cloned, at what phase of the builder is mobile support, i.e., web browsing on tablets, phones would be natively supported? So I'm not exact. If you're meaning natively there, as in a mobile application that would be available, in the Apple or Google Play stores, that is not something that we are currently focused on. I'm not saying that it's never going to happen, but it's not something we're focused on. We are focused very much so on making the mobile browser experience the best that it can be. And I know from my past life that creating a native mobile app and maintaining parity with what you're doing with the web application, there are lots and lots of challenges to that. And so it's not something that we're not taking on that challenge as it is right now. We are very confident that we're going to make a mobile browser experience that is going to work excellently on any kind of device. And so that is what our core focus is at this point in time. But if you are talking about, how is it going to be on the phone, we are very much working on the tablet and phone views at the moment. And you're going to start seeing at least the first pass of that probably later this week. If it's not then, there's an almost certainty that it will be, by early next week. So there will be kind of the first pass of some of the mobile responsiveness coming into play in the closed alpha. All right, Rex Verity, you've traveled a lot for work. What food do you miss / wish you could get at home from your trip? Yeah, this is not even a contest. Most of the time, I guess it's not a food, but sweet tea is definitely the thing that I miss the most, because there is a point in the country that if you go too far north of it or too far west of it, basically, tea is just dirty brown water, as my buddy Ted would say. And so sweet tea, without any doubt, we know how to do that here in the South. And so miss sweet tea big time. I would also say that typically we do Tex-Mex really well, and I'm very conscious about calling it Mexican food because it's I've been to Mexico a few times, and it is very much not Mexican food, but we'll call it Tex-Mex, Americanized Mexican food, which I happen to be a fan, big queso fan, all those things. And often when I travel to other parts of the country, unless it is somewhere else, between here and Texas. Typically, the Tex-Mex is not really everything it's cracked up to be, and so I would say that now. That is going to change when I start getting all the way on the West Coast. So if we're talking San Diego, then okay, yeah, I am perfectly fine with the corn tortillas that are happening in that city. But I would say that's probably it. I also, there's always a risk when you choose chicken wings, in a different location, because I've scouted out this area so much that I know exactly where to go for the best stuff. And so when you're traveling, sometimes it's a little bit of roulette that you're playing when it comes to chicken wings. So that would probably be what I would answer, at least today. Mergon, any plans to have the book reader able to pop out to its own tab page? That is not something that we are considering at this point in time, but it's not outside the realm of possibility at some point in the future. It's definitely not on the short term or medium term roadmap at this stage. Ook Haiku, how many baseball caps slash other hats do you own? Yeah, I definitely collect hats. I don't know how many I own. I know that my wife would say it is too many. But I collect baseball caps, and some other kinds of hats, but definitely collect those. And I also collect T-shirts. So I have probably too many of both of those things. I have another cap that is on its way to me that was pretty difficult for me to find, actually, that I'm excited to debut as soon as it comes here, that happens to have a dinosaur on it. So we'll share that before too much longer. Link Cable, with Marvel Multiverse RPG coming to Demiplane, what original character do you hope to create and play as? This is a question that I could spend a long, long time on. I would say that one of the characters that I have several character concepts. One of them, I have a character that I play in several games that is called Breakthrough, and Breakthrough is a character that is a little bit kind of a heavy to a degree, but happens to be a scientist as well, and has some kind of molecular atomic kind of powers, and a little bit definitely in the vein of Hank McCoy, Beast, who is my favorite X-Man. Yeah, so probably that. I also have another character that I like to play called Happenstance, that has kind of some luck-based powers. And then I have another classic that is kind of is very related to kind of the Captain America, peak human kind of archetype, that is called Relentless. That his power is he doesn't get tired, and so as you can imagine, that enhanced fatigue, kind of battling within his body. So that means he can, keep going, whether that's working out and training, or battling the bad guys. All right, Mergon, will Demiplane be supporting Battle Zoo for Pathfinder 2? Yeah, we don't have anything to share on that front, formally or informally at this point. But I can't imagine a scenario where that kind of stuff is not available in Pathfinder Nexus in the future. So as we get further down the road, that is something that we will certainly look into. Artemis Thep, any news on Stolen Fate? It should release on April 26th, according to the Paizo website. I am almost positive that we are already working on that. And so I was trying to see if I could see a quick update on that. That's there are lots and lots of names here, and I'm not actually good with names as much as I am for these things as what happens inside of them. But I believe, is that the new standalone adventure that is coming, or is that the anyway, I'll look that part up later. If there is a street date for any of the Pathfinder books that are going on, then you should bank on that it will be available on that street date, because Melly and the rest of the game content team is on top of all of those things. So it should definitely be there. Oh, okay. Stolen Fate's the new AP. Got it. Got it. I don't even think that I have looked at that one yet, but we do have the files, and the moment that that is available, it will be available here on Pathfinder Nexus. Josh in my ear. Thanks for that. Link Cable, will the character builder have customizable settings like custom backgrounds / uploading your own backdrop? Absolutely on the roadmap, something that will happen in the future, not at the initial drop of the open beta, but it won't be too much further down the road before that will be possible. Octo Tasty, since you're doing Vampire, you're going to support other World of Darkness games since they all share a core engine and character sheet structure. As they get 6th edition support, maybe. So I'm not aware of any 6th edition stuff, and that's not talking out of school or anything. But we already do have early access going for Hunter, so the new version of Hunter is available. I believe that we're going to be making the Lines Drawn in Blood adventure compilation available for pre-order really soon, and we're going to start working on that. We are also absolutely going to support the new version of Werewolf whenever it becomes available at some point. And again, the World of Darkness team has not announced when that's going to happen, but we do have the license to do everything with Werewolf as well. If they introduce any of the other World of Darkness games or settings into that, we would also be very inclined to support them. 3 Dragon minimum, with a lot of pressure from the outside for the various Nexus in the works. Is there anything internally as a company you all do to unwind and keep up the morale and enthusiasm of staff? That is a great question, and I think that we certainly look for opportunities to do that as a company. We are a remotely dispersed company, and so we're not all in the same place, and so we get together several times a year in a single place, and we pack a lot into those few days that we're together, and plenty of R&R is kind of featured in all of those times. We do sometimes try some remote things. We fairly recently had a Rocket League tournament, and I did not play in it because I do very good to just drive up a wall in that game. But yeah, we absolutely look for those opportunities. As you can imagine, many of the people working for our company are gamers, and so they appreciate video gaming and a variety of other kinds of gaming. And so we're always looking for those kind of opportunities as well. And really importantly, we encourage people to just take that time to unplug. And so myself, I work really, really hard. I work really long hours, but at the same time, I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of hobbies, and so we encourage everyone on our staff to do that. And at least the best that we can tell, people are really living the good life, and we're really excited. We're in this big crunch, kind of push to get character tools out. Once we are in a place where things are on solid footing, there we will absolutely schedule some very special time to take a victory lap and celebrate that. All right, let's see. We got several more. Um, let's see, aka Kira, what is your hat? This is actually something from the absolutely fantastic animated series called Gravity Falls. And if you have not watched Gravity Falls before, and especially if you like games like this, these tabletop role playing games, Gravity Falls is a wonderful, wonderful thing to get into. It's not that big of a commitment. So, not too many episodes that you'd have to, catch up on, but it tells a very complete story and is one of the better animated series that's ever been made, probably. So this is a hat from one of the characters in that show. So if you haven't seen Gravity Falls, check that one out. Let's see, link cable with Vampire having its own next. Oh, let's see. Oh, okay. This is a similar question to the last. What are the chances of Renegades Essence 20 games receiving their own? Yeah, very familiar with Power Rangers, Transformers, and in particular G.I. Joe. Big, big, big G.I. Joe fan as I stare at my Snake Eyes shrine next to me here. Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. We don't have anything that we can announce or share at this time with Essence 20, but we certainly like what Renegade is doing, and anything is possible. So if and when we have news on that, we will share it. Let's see. Revos one, how's the browser support coming? I tried Vivaldi and it seems to go into mobile mode. We have not done a ton of work outside of Chrome right now. So um, we will. I'm going to throw out some brass tacks out there right now. So when it comes to web traffic, we are somewhere in the 95th percentile now of people that use Chrome. So Chrome has won the browser war out there, at least as it stands right now. And so most of the time we are making sure that things are very optimized and working exactly as they need to in Chrome. You have versions of Safari and things on Macs that throw a lot of curveballs. Firefox throws curveballs every now and then. Vivaldi absolutely would throw some curveballs, and so those are things that we're not saying yet. We're not saying yet that we're going to let those other browsers fall off the cliff or anything. That's not what I'm saying. But we are absolutely going to focus on Chrome first because it's just what the data tells us. But that's not to say that once we get things where they need to be with Chrome, that we're not going to go and look at some of the other browser experiences and shore up any inconsistencies that we find there. But at the same time, it's very difficult for us to spend time that we need to prioritize in other places to track down some random thing that's happening in Vivaldi, for instance, when all of the web traffic data tells us that 95% of the people using the internet are using Chrome. So that's not necessarily somebody who wants to use other browsers wants to hear, and that is not me saying again that we're not going to get to those things. That's me explaining our thought process behind why we need to focus on the Chrome experience first, and then once we get Chrome, like so for instance, things aren't working how they need to on Chrome right now. So once we get to a place where things are working on Chrome, then we will start to look at some of the other edge cases in some of the other browsers. Let's see. AKA Kira, will a source field also be applied to creatures? Yes, it will. Yeah, the source field will be applied. Really, the only place that the source field will not be applied is in certain, nexuses. Maybe if Alien has a skills listing, we are not going to apply the source field to the skills listing in Alien because all of the skills are available, kind of at that root level in the core, rule book there. And now, if any skills ever got added in subsequent products, then we probably would go back and add a sources field. But since in that case, it's just available kind of at the base level of the game, the sources field is just kind of taking up some space at that point. So that's the only place where the sources field would not be applied. But otherwise, we are trying to put it in all the places. And then, of course, with mobile, views coming into place, the sources field is going to drop at some point because, when you're looking at the hierarchy of importance of the information, sources is going to absolutely fall out of that row header. You will still be able to see the sources field in the details page, just like you can today. All right, let's see a few more here, and I will try to get out of here. So I see several questions about the Gravity Falls hat, and I don't actually know where I got it, so I'm afraid that I can't answer that. But several other questions about is that a Gravity Falls hat, and it absolutely is. Big fan of Gravity Falls. Anchor 89. Any dates for the Pathfinder 2e actual play? No dates. But what I will throw out there is it makes a lot of sense for us to, kind of coincide that probably as we get closer to the open beta. So as we progress towards the open beta, you can imagine that we are going to be progressing towards getting the actual play, which is in this case, the Claw Firm is what the show is called. And it's got a fantastic cast. We're going to be releasing that, probably the first part of this year is what I will give out there. Let's see. The Molly J, when will you start announcing more game nexuses? Timing on those is very, uh, it's all over the place. There are a variety of factors that go into exactly when information is shared. And so, with this, we have some other nexuses that we haven't announced yet. But I would expect before we get out of the first half of this year, we will announce at least one more nexus and possibly a couple more. So that's all I can say at this point. But we have a lot on our plate as well. And so, some of the holding off on announcing things is just because we don't want to announce something so far in advance of being able to work on something. And so, our dance card is very full at the moment. It is full with some wonderful dancers, and we cannot wait to dance with them. But we have others on that card that we have not, presented to the world yet, and we're excited about doing that. And I think at least one we will talk about before we get halfway through this year. Let's see. JXM040, are the publishers you're working with starting to adjust the formats of their books to work better with Demiplane? That is a really good question, and the way that I need to answer this one is Demiplane doesn't really expect them to. So, in my past life, I recognize that working with the largest TTRPG publisher out there, that there is a pretty dramatic difference between the skill sets of someone who is an art director at a publisher, who is doing great work with layout and with art and making sure all of the pieces fit together to make the very best hardcover book imaginable. There's a big difference between that and someone who would parse information in a way that it can be digitized more easily. it is unrealistic, I've come to see, to expect a publisher, which, by the way, we're already on some pretty razor thin margins in this industry to start with. It's unrealistic to expect a publisher to hire, an art director that is going to be really great at making a hardcover, tabletop role playing book that is also going to be able to parse this information in a digital form. I'm not saying that that can't exist, but it's unrealistic to expect that. And even as a fan of games in this industry, I would prefer for those publishers to hire somebody that's really good at making a hardcover book. And so, it just it is a happy thing for us that our team is really really good at digitizing things. And so in that past life and then in everything that we're doing here at Demiplane, us taking a raw, typically it's an InDesign. So, Adobe InDesign is the format that almost every publisher out there uses. And we take that raw file and we do all of the heavy lifting from there. And it is a very white gloved experience. And, there are some digital providers out there that don't do that, that, they put that on the publisher to do. And, I understand why that works for their businesses. For us at Demiplane, the kind of experience that we're creating requires that white glove, and it requires, deeper integrations. And so we relish the opportunity to take that raw content from publishers and work with that. And we've become very proficient at quickly and accurately getting that content digitized. I will say that if we ever come across hey, is it possible for you to do A instead of B? We sometimes ask that of the publishers when we do feel like, it's probably six of one, half a dozen of another to them. And oftentimes they are very, very willing to work with us. But for the most part, that's where the heavy lift comes in on our team, and we accept that and we dive into it head first. All right, let me see. One more question, maybe. Let's see. Uh, okay, I'll do two more here because the last one's not really a question. Bergertron 2000, when will we see more background choices in the character builder? I'm assuming you mean from other sources outside the core rulebook and the advanced player's guide, and that is going to be pretty soon, actually. You will start seeing that here as we get into the last stages of the closed alpha. That content has been completed, and we're ready to put that into the builder, and it will start coming in before too much longer. And then finally, let's see. Link Cable, just wanted to say thank you for your time and for all your hard work. You and the team do at Demiplane. Keep it up. Not a question, but I'm going to allow it because that's a wonderful one to go out on. I appreciate everyone joining me today. Went over a little bit on time there, but I wanted to try to get through all those questions. I'm going to go grab some food. We will see you later in the week for some additional build updates into the closed alpha. And also tonight we are returning for Children of Erte. We are in a pickle, and I can't wait to see, that's how these games work, right? Like this is a show that's going to happen tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, and nobody, even the cat, we don't know what's going to happen. That's what I love about these games. And so I can't wait to see what happens in Children of Erte tonight. Join us for that. I will see you here next week for the dev update. Later, Gators.